Welcome back, everyone, to our soul-searching conversation with Sanam. And I am Sanam Lalwani. Today, I am extremely elated to have on my live platform a discussion with two brilliant authors. It is such a delight to be here in the presence of these two inspirational souls. I'm so grateful that amidst their busy schedules and the differing time zones of Mumbai, Melbourne, and Dubai, they are here today giving us their valuable time. So thank you so much. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our special guests. We have from Mumbai, India, Nandini Dhanani, and from Melbourne, Australia, Sandeep Adnani, who are actually related and very close friends too. So I am excited to chat with this dynamic duo today about their accomplishments. First, I would like to introduce Nandini. Nandini Dhanani is a multi-genre author, healer, and spiritual writer who has done auto writing. She was born in Mumbai, raised in Dubai, and lived in Malaga, Spain too. She currently lives in Mumbai. Nandini's writings have appeared in a local English newspaper, Sur, in Malaga, and she has served as a celebrity columnist for an Indian magazine, Aina, popular in Tenerife. Her cross-cultural influences have helped shape Nandini's writing sensibilities. After experimenting in script writing, her passion stirred her to write fictional literature, Finding Myself. Nandini Dhanani has been blessed by Shirdi Sai Baba and her guru, Baba Hiral Shah, and has written two books, Healing with Shirdi Sai Baba and Shirdi Sai Baba Ke Anmol Sandesh. She is currently working on her new novel and is also in the process of writing her third Sai Baba book. Wow, I am so blessed to be able to converse with you today. So welcome to my platform, Nandini.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanam.
No, not at all. I'm so glad to be here. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got interested in writing and the journey you took to get to where you are now?
So let's see. I would say, for all of us, it begins when we are children, and especially our generation, the art of storytelling starts when our grandparents sit with us every night and tell us these stories. It's like amazing with a moral in the end. And maybe stories from Ramayana, from Bhagavad Puran, and all that. So I think that seed of storytelling and the fascination for stories, it began as a child. After which, and for which I'm very grateful to my grandfather, because it was like a ritual every night. And it was like 10 stories, 12 stories, as if he had a treasure box of stories. And without reading, I mean, they didn't read at that time, they had it all here. So I guess that was when the fascination for storytelling began. We were not exposed to books at that time. I think it's till I went to college. I came to Bombay to college. That's when I actually began reading, and English language fascinated me. I used to be like, wow, how do they write this, So, and then after that, I got married and I went to Spain. So I must say that whenever I came that time, English books were not available in Spain. So what I would do is when I came to Bombay, I would collect a lot of books and go back and read them through the year. That was my entertainment at that time. And then it was there that I thought that I wish I could write one day. Just a thought. because I had not graduated in BA or not done English. So for me, it was always that, oh, you need an education to be a writer. But I guess it's more than education, is the passion. If you have the passion, it happens. And also, I had this habit of collecting quotes. I would love reading and collecting quotes, little nuggets that I felt, will help me in my writing in the future. So that's how I began my journey. Then Baba came in my life, Baba Hiral Shah, my guru, and he initiated me into automatic writing. That's when my journey into automatic writing began. And it fueled my passion more, because I was like, if Baba has blessed me, then it will happen. And when I moved to Bombay, I took up a script writing course and started writing scripts. And then from there, I thought, okay, if I can write scripts, I can write a novel too. And that's how the journey began. And then after that, it's like the books flew. It just flowed in, like slowly.
Wow, that's really, really amazing to hear your whole journey. It's just fallen into place like step by
Yeah,
step. Yeah, it was just so organic, as if it was so
very
organic
organic.
that it was
Yes.
just meant to be. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. So next we have Sandeep. Sandeep Adnani is the Amazon #1 best-selling, award-winning, multi-genre author of the Exiled Rogue series. The omnibus of the trilogy won the silver medal at the 2022 Global Book Awards, and separately too, his books have won awards in multiple categories. He is also a professional and accredited mental health counselor and life coach based in Australia. He has written 5 fiction books in multiple genres and will soon be publishing 2 non-fiction counseling/life coaching books. Sandeep provides counseling for individuals on a variety of issues, including relationship and conflict, grief and loss, and child parenting. Welcome, Sandeep. It is so wonderful to have you here also on my platform.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanam. And when somebody else reads your bio, it's very humbling. And it's like, wow, is that me? So thank you very much. And thank you for that introduction.
Oh, that's really nice. Sandeep, so from a young age, you wrote articles for the school newspaper to dissertations, which marked your academic career. So tell us your journey of how you fulfilled your dream of becoming a novelist.
Very interesting. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, if somebody told me this is not something you can do or this is not something you can achieve, I would take it on as a challenge. English, I excelled in English in high school, but I had a lot of help from both my English teachers. And writing a book was something I nurtured since I was in high school. It just seemed like something that, would push me to my limits, and it would be something, it would mark a big achievement for me. But when and how was left. I wrote a mini thesis in high school. I wrote several dissertations in my bachelor's and master's. And writing a book kept sitting on the back burner. It's when I moved to India that I pursued a course in creative writing, and I actually understood how to get the stuff from here onto the paper. And but it still wasn't the right time. I tried. There was this idea on the back burner for 6 years. It didn't come to fruition. I would write a chapter or two and abandon it. But I'm happy to say that in 2019, when Nandini released her book, and I saw it, I saw her holding it. I said, okay, so she's done it. She's a mother of 3. She's running a household. She's looking after her family. If she can find the time to do it and the discipline to do it, what excuse do you have? That's what I asked myself. And by the grace of God and the universe, I always thank the universe. All my books have not taken more than 2 months to write. The first one also I completed in 2 months. And it was my dream, like Nandini's dream, that her parents launch the book, they hold the book. That was my dream as well. And the first book was launched in 2020, then in 2021, then 2022, then 2023. So it's just been one book after another after that. And my friend keeps joking that we need to buy a bookshelf now because of all your books. But yeah, that was my journey. And yeah, when you would ask an author like myself or Nandini, how many books will you write or how many more books, we don't know the answer to that. And all I wish for her and for myself is that the tap of imagination keeps running. It doesn't close. So yeah, that's my story.
That's an amazing way to put it. The tap continues to flow. That's really beautiful. And that you also think of the two of you. That just shows the closeness between the two and the love that you have, that you share between the two of you. So that's really nice. Yeah. So good. You guys egg each other on and you help each other through all the processes. So that's good. And you have a soundboard for each other. So that's amazing. So Nandini, your first book is named Finding Mr. Right, which has been intentionally crossed out, sending a very intriguing and powerful message about the book. And you put Finding Myself. So please tell our viewers a little bit about your book and how did this character Priya germinate for you in your mind?
Okay, so first the strike through of Mr. Right. We're always trying to find Mr. Right. This is very interesting quote, which is also in my book, which says, what counts in making a partnership is not much as how much compatible you are, but how you deal with incompatibility. So it's like till you don't know your own strengths, your own flaws, how can you expect to know your partners or the one you love, their flaws and strengths? And when you've not understood that dynamics, it's very difficult to say, oh, I found Mr. Right. No, you can't, because you've not found yourself as yet. And now coming to the idea where it germinated. So basically, coming to the Sindhi community, I mean, we've been raised as Sindhi girls. Yeah. One thing that we Sindhi parents have this, we give a lot of importance to the color of the skin. Some families equate fairness to beauty. So that was one aspect which I wanted to touch upon. Second is the need, the desperate need of a partner, arranged marriage, a partner. It's like the marriage is the all that a girl needs to do. That's all. That's her destination. That's her goal. So coming to that, and for me also, it was relationships. You know, I'm an observer, like Sandeep is. We love to observe people. The details of how people react to situations, how they behave. So basically, it's that observation through years and this arranged marriage that brought about this Priya character, who has a journey where she makes a lot of mistakes. And I feel as a society, we have to understand that it's normal to make mistakes. You cannot berate someone because if they made a mistake. It's like you do 10 good things and one wrong thing, and that's it. It's like, oh, she's really bad. No. So Priya shows that you can make mistakes, and the more mistakes you make, the better human being you become, because you are ready to learn and accept your flaws and evolve as a human being. So basically, it's a journey of a girl trying to manage relationships, coming out of love, in and out of love, difficult parents, trying to understand her parents because of the generation gap. We somehow don't understand our parents. But when that maturity sets in, you understand where they're coming from, and that's how it is. So that book is based on basically a journey of Priya Wadhwani, who's a character full of fun, love, and I Sindhi.
Yeah, beautiful. In fact, I have a quote on mistakes, if you don't mind me saying.
Yes, please do.
A mistake that makes you humble is better than the achievement that makes you arrogant. So that
Very
was
true.
something also interesting that I came across, and I thought maybe I could share it as
Yes,
well.
very, very, very true.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, so I guess Priya becomes very relatable to us because of the fact that we are Sindhis and we go through similar journeys that she went through. And even
Yes.
the funny part was when you talk about the Indian matchmaking and how now, there's a whole TV show on Netflix
Yes.
called Indian Matchmaking
With
with that.
matchmaking, yes.
So it's quite funny how, it's so relevant to a lot of the women, especially. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's great. That's really interesting. Did you want to say something else before I moved on?
No, Sandeep wants to give in.
Oh, yes, yes. I will ask later for both of you to give your insights about each other's books. But if you would like to say anything now, otherwise,
No,
I'd like to
I'll
ask.
wait. I'll wait. I'll wait till that.
You'll wait.
I'll wait
Okay.
till that part. Yeah.
All right. Great. So, Sandeep, my question to you next is what inspired you to write your first novel, Code of the Exiled Rogue? And how did that transpire into a trilogy? Could you please give our audience a little synopsis of your books too?
Sure. So I'm sure again Nandini will agree with me that when we set out to write a book, at least our first book, we never think that we'll write two or three or we'll write more books because the first book seems like this big mountain that how will we climb it and how will we do it? So the book was meant to be standalone. It wasn't meant to be a trilogy.
Mhm.
Um, the book was like I would call a micro, analysis of people going through an existential crisis and talking about things that we all talk about when we are confused in life or when we feel like we've come to like a stalemate, like now what next, or like a crossroads. So there are discussions on time, there's discussions on life, there's discussions on truth, and I settle on love in the end of the book as a message, as a way forward. Um, but then the trilogy takes a turn. I was standing with Nandini at the book launch in Mumbai,
Wow.
and I announced it's not going to be a standalone, it's going to be a trilogy. I just said it.
Wow.
And and everybody's like, what? I said, yeah. And I was like, now I've said it, so now I have to do it. And that's often how I put myself into a situation because I'm like, now you've said it, now you have to do it. You've committed to it.
Yeah.
Um, COVID, the silver lining of COVID lockdowns was that I wrote both the books back to back. In the second one I wrote in 2 months, the third one I wrote within a month. I wrote a chapter a day. That's how fast it was going. So the second one is more like a macro analysis. So we're going a little bit bigger.
Mm.
And the third one becomes meta. So it becomes universal.
Mm.
And I know you're not reading as much as you used to, Sanam, but do read the second and third because it takes a complete U-turn. And it gives all the insights that I wish I had received or I wanted to share through my characters. And I wanted people to think because I had been through the thinking journey and I had found myself sitting in Melbourne writing. And sometimes people don't think they can make decisions or move or follow their passions. And I keep telling people, you're not a tree, you can move. And once you embrace that unknown, once you face your fears, like they say, growth lies outside the comfort zone. And that's what I wanted everybody to embrace and move forward. And I think Nandini also is a very good example of pushing herself, going out of a comfort zone. I mean, if you asked Nandini 5 years ago, would you be marketing, writing, doing all these things at the same time? She would be like, no, what are you talking? But now she's doing it. Her Sai Baba channel on Instagram is very widely viewed. She creates the posts herself. And that's something I wanted to tell her and to all the women who I know. Oh, I don't know technology, or oh, you do know technology. Stop saying you don't know. Oh, I don't know how to do this. You do know. It might take a little longer to learn because it is new, but you do know. I just want everybody to embrace what they don't know. And especially women, I want them to help themselves by to stop saying anything about what I don't know or what I can't do or what is not meant for me. So the whole world is your oyster. Go get it. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Would you like to say something, Nandini, to that?
Very good. I mean, he's a counselor, he is the soundboard, he is a mentor. So he is amazing I think that is what I like about him. The wisdom that he has for his age is incomparable to many of his age. Yeah.
Yeah, because I also
evolved through years.
Yeah, because actually, when I read just the first book, and like I told you, I'm not an avid reader, but now, like, especially after for preparing for today, I've been like reading like nonstop, and that's not me. Like one book of yours, one book of each of yours. So I was like, I have to. But now I'm excited to read the second and the third.
You must read his second and third. There's so much depth in those books.
Yeah, because
you have to read it to understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah. Correct, because the first book itself had so many nuggets. They had so much philosophy and so much depth to it. So I cannot imagine what more there will be in the next two, and I'm excited to find out. So that's just amazing. And I just wanted to say, faith and fear both demand you to believe in something you cannot see. You choose. So I could see that you chose faith over fear, and that's just amazing. And I know that we all need to keep working on that. So that's great that you are there to remind us of this message. Really
I would like to say something here. Even like when Nandini writes her Baba books, I think Baba writes through her for the world, but also writes through her to heal her. And I think every author will agree that somehow we shift with our writing. Something shifts within us. It heals us, or it opens stuff for us which we didn't think could open or could exist. So it's not only the work that we put out there is for somebody else, but it's a lot for ourselves. And and it's like a revision. Like every book of Baba's, every new book of Baba's is like a revision. When I hear her or when I read it, it's a revision for me. We forget. In the everyday race of life, we forget. And it helps us, especially the Baba books, they help us slow down, reflect, be grateful. Yeah.
And I think you said this one quote. I think you quoted young Pueblo in one of your Insta feeds. You said, "It is not about being fully healed and then starting your life. It is about embracing healing as a lifelong journey while allowing genuine connections to organically emerge along the way." So I think that also is very beautiful. Like you said, as you talk about each book and as you experience, and I think that's why I also do these soul searching conversations, because I think after every guest speaker that I have, I feel like there's a shift in my thinking, or there's something deeper in the soul connection that comes with it. So I know it's not that I'm writing as an author, but I feel like I'm
You don't
on
need to. You just need to think.
Yeah.
You just need to think. You just need to go inwards. And that's why we aligned. That's why when we met, we've known each other, like I reminded you, we've known each other since 1991 December, and but now it's aligned. Now we're meeting. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
And I would like to say that Nandini and I have both been very instrumental in each other's healing journey. Writing is there, but even in the healing.
Hmm.
Because when you become a soundboard for somebody, as she is for me or I'm for her, it helps us both reflect and keep us both in line. We both tell each other, okay, this is the message here, or this is what we need to do here. So
Yeah.
thank you, Nandini.
It's just lovely to see your relationship. I just love it. So I wanted to ask you, Nandini, a little bit more again about your first book. As I read your first book, initially I thought it was very lighthearted and interesting with lots of masala, which it is, but it doesn't stop there. I realized later that there is a lot of depth in your book as well. For example, you start each chapter of your book with a profound quote which is connected to that chapter. Like you said, you liked in your journey, you said you enjoyed finding quotes and adding that. Yeah. And then you give references also from the Bhagavad Gita. And you also impart knowledge about our Indian society that we spoke about a little bit earlier. So, after embarking on this journey, what are the insights you would like to share or messages you want to convey to our readers? I know you did touch upon this, but if there is anything else you'd like to bring up.
Like I would like to say, in here, we must stay connected to our roots, our culture, Sindhi roots.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm very grateful to my father who has always kept us connected. He's one of the pioneers leading when it comes to Sindhi culture, Sindhi programs. So I guess that is where it comes from, the teaching. And like I said, storytelling came from my grandfather. And I feel it's very important in life to keep learning. I mean, there is no age. You can't say, okay, now what? Now I'm older. Why do I need to learn? Why do I need to learn new skills? No. The more you learn, the more you evolve. Your soul is much more expanded. Your consciousness expands much more. You're more connected to your higher self. So, a learning is a very important part, I feel, in one's journey. And I believe do good for the society. I think my only way, the way I can give back to the society is by writing stories which have a subtle message in it. Like what we observed even in Sandeep's books. It's not just a novel, it's not just a sci-fi, suspense. No, there are so many messages that will help humanity on the whole. If you read them with that interest, I mean, if you're just reading it for the sake of reading, no. But if you read it, you will understand the depth. You will understand. You can pick up nuggets from his book, where you can, which will help you in your life, in your day-to-day answers to your questions. So it's very important to give back to the society, and I guess that's how we are doing our bit in the society.
Yeah. No, that's really beautiful. Here, I would also like to give a small tribute to your dad, Uncle Narayan Savlani. He's such a pure soul, Uncle, and so inspiring with his passion of photography and authoring a book. So it has been really an honor to get to know Uncle, and it's just so beautiful. And of course, it's so beautiful that through my Jeej, and my sister, that I could get to know them, get to know you, and then meet Sandeep at their wedding. So it's all like full circle over here. So it's
Yes.
just amazing.
Before you continue, Sanam, Prem Chablani,
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Nandini ji and Sandeep ji was wonderful. We'll definitely read your books, ji, and we'll wait for a book that you both write together. That would
Oh,
be so good, isn't it, Sanam?
oh yeah,
And
that sounds amazing.
I replied saying, God willing, we will. But
Hopefully one day.
yeah,
I keep telling Sandeep, can we write one book together?
we
That's
will. We will.
amazing.
We will reach a project where it'll be very collaborative. But
Because
having said
after
that,
every
I
one
think,
chapter, I send it to Sandeep to please go through it.
yeah. And that's what I was going to say, that our books are, even though they're not co-authored, like we don't write co-authored, but we do share our work and we do bounce notes off each other. Yeah.
That's amazing. So good idea frame. Maybe if it's being sent out to the universe through other people too, it can, manifest too. So that'll be amazing. Something to look forward for us as your readers, as your fans. Now I will become your fans also. And so, Sandeep, in your first book, because as I told you, that's the book I read throughout, you talk about the concept of truth. And this question gets asked to some of the characters in the book. So I wanted to ask you the same question that has been asked in the book. Would you tell us about a memory in your life when you were faced with a realization, a dawning from the mundane existence, where you achieved sudden clarity of thought, something that sparked a purpose in life, which encouraged you to seek more in life? So I know you have been touching up on a lot of these things, but just in case there's something else that you feel needs to
Sure,
say.
for sure. Very clear memory. Like again, Nandini will agree that when authors write from their own experiences, it comes across more, there's a big impact. So I was having an existential crisis myself in Dubai. I would drive to work, I'd come back home, and I just felt like this is going to be the rest of my life. I'm just going to do this.
Mm.
And I had a chat with my dad, and I said, I want to move. And I'm so grateful to my parents for always being supportive that he said, okay, move. If you're not happy here, or if you feel that you haven't learned everything you have to, move. And that's how Australia, that's how India, they all happened.
Mm.
So that's a very clear memory. And I think everybody has these key defining moments in their life when they make a decision. And sometimes it's a well thought out one, and sometimes they just take the plunge. And but my writing is to wake the people who are just going through life. So I just feel like don't get too comfortable.
Yeah.
There you can achieve more. There is a lot more out there. So I think that is the biggest truth, where if you are honest with yourself, your inner self will tell you, no, I want more. I want to achieve more. I want to learn more. I want to grow more. With growth, with achievement, there is pain, there is suffering. It's not easy. Like when Nandini told us her bio, like her journey, and we applauded, but she's had her fair share of ups and downs in life, which again come
All
across
of
in the books. So when we see her as a finished, as a published, as an accomplished author here, it's it's like the lid of the jar. You're just seeing the top, but there's a lot inside,
yeah.
and that's what we draw on. That's the things. Those are the things that we draw on, and we um, put them through our characters into our stories.
That's beautiful. Yeah, really. I was also just thinking that, like you said, we're not given a good life or a bad life, but we're given a life. It's up to us to make it good or bad. So, like you said, we shouldn't just be complacent and just live life just for the sake of living life. We really have to embrace life, and maybe life is happening for us and not to us. So I think that's really amazing, um, to to bring that up. And that's kind of like why I wanted to interview the two of you, because I feel that you have a lot of messages that your readers, your audiences will learn from today's session. It's not just about interviewing two authors, I mean, brilliant authors, but really it is about that depth that you were talking about, not just the top of the lid, where
Yeah.
you just talk about what the finished product is, but the actual journey. So that's pretty much why I also, again, do these lives, because I just want to celebrate different people's special qualities. And I want that we see the unity in diversity. and how we contribute to make this world a beautiful place to live in. So I think you both are really contributing well in that aspect. And I hope you continue to do that. So that's just amazing. Thank you so much. And so as per my understanding, and I think now all of our viewers today too must have realized how much you have in common, how much you have this love for each other, and how much you support each other. And so, especially when it comes to authoring books or healing, like you said, and this is evident in how you mention each other in your acknowledgement section in the books as well. And so this just shows your connection. And so it would be great opportunity if there is any other feedback you would like to add at this point about each other's work, because like we can see within every question you had something to say for each other, which is just amazing. I didn't know the depth of the love, but now I can feel it. But if there is anything else you'd like to talk about each other's journey or books, the floor is yours.
I must tell you, I call Sandeep Cindy Dan Brown.
That is such a cool name.
Because when I first read his book, I said, I'm a fan of Dan Brown books, and
Yeah.
this is like our own homegrown Dan Brown.
Oh,
And
that's amazing.
I must say that Sandeep is not only a good writer, he's also a man of substance, a good listener, and of course, counseling. I mean, today he's taken up formally, he's professionally, he's doing counseling.
Yeah.
But I think he's been a counselor for everyone in the family, and I think friends, since he must have been in his teens, I guess. Is it Sandeep?
Yeah.
It's just he's born with those sanskars, I think we carry our sanskars from a past birth.
Yeah.
And he's an old soul who has so much wisdom that I think sometimes even older generations, I think, must be coming to him. He doesn't talk much. He will never boast about it. But yes. And there is one line in his book which I really must share, and I really liked it. Light is born of the dark. Dark gives meaning to light. It's two lines which say so much about our whole existence. So that's, I mean, he's been my mentor, I think, since I began my journey in writing. And I think it's writing that brought us closer, because we became each other's soundboard. So yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, and I hope we continue our friendship, our love for each other forever, and for births to come.
Beyond dimensions.
But before I ask Sandeep, would you like to say anything about that quote itself, like that Nandini spoke about?
That quote, yeah, very, very special to me from my first book. Wanting to bring the context in the book is to it's a riddle as well, and it's also a clue, and it's also a philosophy. So it's everything. And often we don't celebrate the darkness, or we don't embrace the darkness, or we shy away from it, we shirk, or we call it bad, we call it negative. No, that's where the seed germinates. That's where miracles happen, in the dark. And then when the light bursts forth, it just doesn't burst forth automatically. Something has happened for it to burst forth. So that was the context in the book. And thank you for reminding me. You're taking me back to my first book, and it's like, wow, like it's hitting me. But in relation to Nandini's work, I remember reading her first book, and if you know her well, you will understand how she's tried to write from a perspective of a young girl, and who goes through all these life lessons. You mentioned mistakes. I wouldn't even call them mistakes. I would call them life lessons. I would call them, because until you don't know what you don't want, how will you know what you want? So she went through stuff, as people do, Maybe there was a lot of weight of relationships on her, maybe a lot of expectations from family, which is why she made choices that didn't serve her. But when we look back, Nandini, all our choices serve us. All our choices teach us something or the other. And that's what I took away from that book. That it may look like the parents are being difficult, or it may look like she's had, difficult circumstances. But she wasn't those things. She had to make those difficult choices to get to where she got in the end, where she was self-sufficient, where she attracted the right person, because, like Nandini said, she got acquainted with herself and she became Miss Right. So if you are love, you will attract love. And I think that is a big philosophy which we need to teach our children. We teach people to pursue love. No, you be lovable first. You be somebody who somebody would want to be with, rather than go after somebody who you think you want to be with. So so yeah, that it was really deep, actually. And all her Baba books are so simple and so straightforward, and the message reaches you like boom. It's like taking a sip of water, that's it. You don't have to dig for the truth. You don't have to decipher it. No, it's right there, simple, it's straightforward. And the Baba books are not like fiction novels which you read back to back and that's it. No, they're like nuggets. They're like, you revisit them. Each time the line will read differently. Each time the message will hit differently. You could just pick up any of the Baba books and open them on any page and you'll learn something. And maybe that something is what you need to hear on that particular day or that particular moment. Yeah. So her writing is a result of her devotion, her discipline, her meditation, and of the human being she is, and also the human being she wants to be. So she doesn't just sit, yeah, okay, I'm a good human being. No. How can I be better? How can I do better? And that is what's important. How can I be better? How can I do better? What more can I do? And the other day we were having a laugh on the phone, and she's my oldest cousin from that side, from Nari uncle's family. You're older or Sunil is older? You guys are the same age.
Sunil is a year.
Sunil is older, but you guys are pretty much the same age.
Same age, yeah.
And when you look at her, touch wood, you don't think that she's that much older. And we were just thinking that you bunch her with the rest of the cousins, even though they may be ranging, there'll be a big age range. And she's like, people forget that I'm the older sister, that I may not be the same Nandini that I was 15 years ago or 20 years ago. Body changes, lifestyle changes, everything changes. So, but I think this keeps her young. This keeps her on her toes. And I definitely keep her on her toes. Every time she calls me, I give her 3 more tasks. I'm like, why do I call this guy? He always gives me more. But I know she can do it. I know she can do it. And I can't wait for you guys to read her period book. Yeah.
Okay.
Karuna is saying, I think she is older to Sunil.
No, that's for sure Sunil saying that, not Karuna.
It could be.
Yeah, he's the youngest of all,
saying,
right?
Sorry,
He's the youngest.
Sorry, it is Sunil. He is saying, I think she is older. Yeah. So,
Sunil,
since you are there, we know that. Radhe, can I say your year of birth or no? I shouldn't say it.
Of course, you can.
I actually asked Jeej this question: who is the oldest? Just for my knowledge.
So Sunil, Radhe is born in 1967. I'm the youngest from all. Radhe is born in 1967. Same, yeah. He's born in 66. He's just confirmed. Yeah. Radhe and my older brother are the same age. Nandini, sorry, are the same age, and Sunil is a year older.
Yeah. So, but when I asked him, I said, he's like, why do you want to know? I said, oh, I just for my knowledge. And I didn't think it would come up today, but he said, no, I'm the youngest of all the sisters. So I said, okay.
Because we treat him like that. We pamper him.
But just from whatever you have all been, you both have been talking, I just wanted to add that yes, there is no path to happiness. You know, happiness is the path, Buddha says. And you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. That is by C.S. Lewis. So, really, what
Nice.
you both are talking, yeah, is just amazing that you have so much wisdom between the two of you, and you have that help from each other. So that's good. Support is there.
Also, we don't have this competitive spirit
Yeah,
between
that's
us.
good.
We're
Yeah,
happy for each other's growth, because normally authors would be like, "Oh,
yeah,
my book is better." No, it's like how everybody can be in the same garden. Different
yeah.
flowers grow in the same garden. So we are like this.
Yeah, correct. So that's what Socrates says. Strong minds discuss ideas, like the two of you. Average minds discuss events, and weak minds discuss people. So good to know that y'all are the strong minds discussing ideas.
Hopefully.
I'm
Sanam,
sure.
Sanam, it's so interesting. We have Karuna here today, and that's the reason that we know each other.
Yes,
Karuna used to write. I don't know if she still
yes,
writes.
yes, yes,
Karuna
yes.
used to write. I remember seeing Karuna as a child, as a teenager, going into her study or office. There was computer there. And again, this is coming to me as a memory now. She was
Yeah,
wearing glasses and she was writing or working. And when you see your older generation do that, like for me, one generation older, two generations older, it inspires you. People get inspired, not sometimes not even by what you say or how you dress or how you look, but just what you're doing. And today it's come to me, so I'd like to thank you as well, Karuna. You're there, so
yeah,
something
that's
never shared with
amazing.
me.
Yeah, and maybe she will get
Paper
reignite.
used to write for newspapers also, Karuna.
Yes,
Yes. So
yes,
maybe
I
it
think
will
she still does
reignite
sometimes.
something in her today. Yeah, sorry. What
Yeah.
did you say? Sorry.
I said she still does sometimes, I think. She
yeah,
does write for some columns.
yeah.
So that's amazing. It's all in the family.
It's all in the family.
Yep,
All in
yep.
the family.
That's great. So now, actually, since you have Sandeep referenced, and also Nandini, you have talked about Shirdi Sai Baba's book, I wanted to go into it a little bit more. So your book, the book that I'm talking about, is Healing with Shirdi Sai Baba. And in
Right.
your preface, you mention that I invoked him and the words began flowing. And each and every word in this book is spoken by Sai. Those are the quotes I've taken from your book. And it's so soul stirring and worded beautifully. And like Sandeep said, very simple, the text, but you know, as Baba says, there is only one language, the language of the heart. There's only one religion, the religion of love. Love is selflessness, self is lovelessness. And I can see that very beautifully in your book. So, could you explain to our audience a little bit about automatic writing, what it is, and your experience in being a medium, in receiving messages from the higher source to enable you to write this book? Because I just wanted to say there are times when we could, if we didn't know, we could decipher the message as something that we think we're getting from the higher self, and it's actually our mind talking. But how do you know the difference? Like if you could just talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
So, automatic writing, actually, I was blessed. I was initiated into automatic writing by my guru, Baba Hiral Shah. It was he who initiated me into automatic writing. And that's when my journey began into automatic writing. Now, automatic writing is something wherein you connect to sign, like to whichever. It could be your higher self, it could be your masters, it could be your guide, whoever. You connect to your higher self and the words flow. It's like a download. It's just you don't have to anything, you just have to type. The moment you use your mind, the moment it's like meditation, wherein no thought, there should be no thought. So when you're doing automatic writing, there is no thought. And the moment there's a thought, the moment your mind tries to interrupt the writing, it stops. So you know that it is Now it's your mind that is, talking, because the sentence just stops there.
Okay.
Besides that, it's just that I think after years of doing it, you just know it's him, it's Sai. It's like, and before I do my automatic writing, there's always a ritual. I will invoke upon Sai. I'll do a meditation before I sit to do. So it's a ritual, and where you are slowly developing that connect with Sai. So
Yeah.
that's how it happens.
Mm.
And it's just, you are just like an instrument. It's not my words, it's nothing what I want to say, because the amount of knowledge that he gives, I don't think I'm capable of. I'm blank when it comes to scriptures and knowledge. No, I don't know anything. I myself have to read it. After I'm done, I have to read it to understand.
Oh.
So Healing with Shirdi Sai Baba was one book, and the second one he said would be in Hindi. And I was like, Hindi? So I had to write it in Hindi English, because obviously I can't write Hindi text. And then I had to get it transcripted to Hindi. But the words that would flow were not my words, because I don't use such words. So that's how it's practice, it's love, and it's blessings from my guru.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's just so lovely, just so wonderful to imagine and to think that you
Yeah,
can.
it's a really, I'm so grateful to my guru for it.
Yeah. It's a blessing, really. Yeah.
Your guru told you, Nandini, you write.
Yes.
You write. You were like, no, like what? Like how? He
This
said,
is what
you write. Yeah.
This is the journey. You just
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, you take life like, okay, whatever. Till, that message has to come. And when you're ready, I guess, I would
Yeah.
write, not that I wouldn't write, I would write, but to make it into a book, it just happened now a few years back. Yeah.
Wow. That's good. Yeah. So initially you did resist it a little bit, or you
Yes.
did feel that no, what is going on? Like
Was
it
there.
wasn't just that.
Because it requires a lot of discipline. You have
Yeah.
to wake up early in the morning, you have to have a routine. So it requires a lot of discipline. And to form that discipline took me some time.
Of course. Yeah.
And sometimes, Nandini, you would be ready, but the words wouldn't come.
Wouldn't come.
So
Yeah.
and you would second guess. You'd be like, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's again, I think, Baba testing. He's like, okay, you're here, you're ready, but are you serious? So every time she writes a book or she contemplates a book, I'm like, see, he's testing you. He's like, are you in it? Are you in it? Are you committed to it? Are you committed to the process? And yeah, she is. The third one is going to be with us soon. So, yay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so nice. So just like a little sidetrack, actually, Nandini, for those of you who are die-hard hard fans of the TV series Mere Sai, might understand the excitement in me asking you this question. I heard that you met Tatya Kote Patel's great grandson, because Tatya is actually Shirdi Sai Baba's son in a way, right? Because I mean, brother,
His younger brother.
younger brother, because Baizaba was his mother.
Yeah.
So this is Tatya Kote Patel's great grandson. I heard that you met him in
great grandson.
great grandson. Oh wow! And you met him in Shirdi, and you were able to present this book to him. Is that correct? Yeah. How was the experience?
Now, first of all, this happened. I had no idea who was he, where was he, nothing. After I completed my book Healing with Shirdi Sai Baba, I did Shirdi Sai Baba ke Anmol Sandesh, and it was Baba's instruction. I go to Shirdi to distribute it.
Okay.
Distributed here in the Mandir and then distributed to in Shirdi. So I just had begun watching Mere Sai. I used to not watch Mere Sai because whenever I watch Sai on screen, I get very overwhelmed. I start crying because there's so much love that I just can't,
Yeah.
So when I was leaving, I told Baba, I'm going to Shirdi. I would like to understand where Baijama lived, where all these characters that they show. I mean, all these people who were with you present at that time.
Yeah.
I would like to meet someone at least. That's it. That was my intent. I went with that intent. And when I reached there, I saw this restaurant called Baijama Rasoi.
Oh,
So I went, we had lunch there. And I just asked the waiter, I said, why you've called it Baijama Rasoi? Does it belong to Baijama or what? As a
yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, it belongs to her great great grandson. And I was like,
Oh,
are you serious? He's like, yeah. I said, and where's he? He said, right behind. I said, can I go to visit him? He said, of course you can go. And he took three of us. We were there. We went to their house. He welcomed us and he took us to the altar where he had mm, Baijama's picture, Tatya Kote Patil's picture, Sai's picture, and this little potli of Baba kept in a glass thing. And he said, this is Baba's potli. And at that instant, I said, thank you, Baba, because it's like when you put an intent out there, Baba makes sure that it's done, it's fulfilled. And then I presented him because I was carrying the books in my bag and I presented him the books. He was so happy, so welcoming, so warm to, to have Baba's books, to know that, I was writing messages. So it
yeah.
was a beautiful experience, not planned. I had no idea who it was, where it was. It just happened. When you
Mm.
trust Baba, he takes care. And if he wants it to happen, it happens.
Yeah. It's all about divine timing, right?
Yes.
There's no such thing as a mistake. Everything happens in divine order. You're always
Yeah.
guided to learn and grow. So that's beautiful. And he always says, no Shraddha and Saburi.
It's a movie. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he says, my timing is perfect. I have something always bigger planned for you. So trust me, you're going to love it. So this was amazing. And you
Yes. For me
continue.
also, it was amazing. I mean, I couldn't stop crying because I was like, wow, Baba.
Mm, wow. So beautiful. A few people have written, so proud of you. Thank you for gifting us with fabulous speakers. Radhe and Sandeep are such beautiful, so positive souls. Thank you. So yeah, I thank you, Sandeep, for yes, replying to them and all. That's amazing. So Sandeep, I wanted to ask you. You changed careers from the advertising media industry and to become a professional mental health counselor in Melbourne. So, with bases in Mumbai and Dubai as well. So, what was the reason for this shift, and how did you manage to start from scratch to study again to become a professional counselor? I mean, you did, like Nandini did mention that you've been like this counselor since a young age. So, we can kind of now start seeing that, but it must have been difficult to change from advertising media to becoming this health coach. So how was that shift for you?
So, Sanam, it was quite organic. I worked in the media and advertising industry for 16 years, marketing. When I moved to Melbourne, I looked for jobs. Um, got many replies: you're overqualified, or you're underexperienced, you don't have local experience, etc., etc., etc. So I said, you know what? New location, new change, new life. Just start something new. Um, and counseling, psychology is something I always wanted to study in high school. Didn't get a chance, wasn't offered. My first degree was business. I did a lot of human interaction and behavior courses. My second degree was a master's in media and communication, again, heavy on interaction and people, and again, psychology, but from a media perspective. So I said, this is the time, now you can learn. Again, I was lucky, very lucky, I think divinely guided, where I found this course, which turned out to be, I didn't do much research, didn't check out much reviews, but turned out to be the best diploma of counseling course offered in Melbourne at the time. When I met my classmates, there were people who had paid full fees for other courses and left them and come here. So I was very lucky that I found a very good institution, but I kept it private. I did not tell anybody, because I said, I'm going back to learning. I graduated in 2001, so I'm going back to learning in 2017.
Yeah.
Will I be able to do it? But again, when I get behind something, I get behind something like a madman. So I actually finished my diploma, which should have taken 18 months. I finished it in 9 months.
Wow.
And that's when I started announcing that, okay, I'm doing a career change. As soon as I finished my diploma, I was qualified to open my own private practice, which I did, which turns 5 years in July, on
Wow.
July 7th. And that is the reason I'm releasing the first counseling book on that day, to commemorate that milestone. Counseling in Australia is different from other parts of the world. You have to be accredited, B, you have to be part of an association, and C, you have to have insurance. So it's very structured. They take it very seriously. And it was great to be part of that system where you know that they take it seriously, so you take it seriously and professionally as well. And that's what brought me here. I also trained later to become a supervisor for counselors, because all counselors over here need to be supervised 10 hours a year, so that they know that they're on the right track. So I trained to do that as well, and I've done all kinds of life coaching training as well. So I'm also a life coach, but I focus more on the counseling.
Okay.
So the second non-fiction book I'm writing is a life coach book. So yeah, that's the journey.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's just amazing. So I wanted to ask you next then, how did your counseling skills help impact the way you see the world? And how did that translate into your writing?
That's one of my favorite questions, actually, because all the characters that I write in all my books are coming from a very informed counseling perspective. They talk very respectfully to each other. It's like an ideal family, or like an ideal friend. When you see them talking to each other, or the way they behave with each other, is very considerate, very kind. The language that I use is very empathetic, very therapeutic kind of language. So even when you're not being counseled, you are kind of being counseled by the characters. And I think that's what I wanted in life, and I think that's what I've put into the books. So it's really informed my the way I write, the way I approach constructing the plot or writing the characters. And yeah, that's I think people who read it will know that this is what an ideal family, an ideal friend. Yeah.
So that ideal world, yeah, I can see that. And I think even I'm idealistic in a lot of ways, and I can see that similarity. That's what I also want. Yeah, but it's good that you put it in the books, and people, readers like us, can imagine being in that situation. So thank you so much for that. And then I wanted to ask you a little bit about your counseling. Like you have dealt with many different issues, but you mainly specialize in grief and loss. What motivated you to get into this area of specialty?
Not only did I specialize in it, I also volunteered with a helpline here called Grief Line, where people call and we discuss grief. I've realized that a lot of people mean well, but when it comes to grief, they can't express themselves. They haven't been taught how to express themselves, or they don't know what to say, or they don't know how to support people. And I think that's something that I wanted to learn, first of all, myself, and then, you can pass that knowledge on to others. It's also a theme in my books, because it's something where it brings great connection with the characters. When you have that kind of moment, you connect with them greatly, and then you can speak a lot about what they left behind, or you can talk about what their legacy was, or what they would have done. Something that we all go through in life, right?
Exactly.
So grief, the grief journey for me began when I was very young. I didn't see 3 of my grandparents. I only saw my grandmother, didn't see the other 3. And since I was the youngest from both sides of the family, I've seen a lot of grief. I've seen a lot of loved ones pass. So much so that and I felt so connected to them, so much so that I get very vivid dreams. I can even smell them, and I wake up.
Wow.
So I do believe that they're there. I do believe they're watching over us. I do believe that they're blessing us, and it was really cool to come to a place like Australia where they celebrate, the Aboriginals celebrate what they call the elders, past, present, and emerging. That's one of the things they do before any event. They acknowledge the original owners, custodians of the land, and they celebrate the elders. So that's what I have written in my third book as well. And when you read more, you'll know more about how I have connected that philosophy to my writing.
Okay.
So grief is just love, which doesn't have a way to come out. And grief is also a door. And once you open the door, the grief finishes, it turns back into love again. So, yeah.
Wow, that's just really profound. That grief is actually love, but it's a
With no
closed
place to
door,
go.
which
With,
with
with,
no place. So it's
with no place
trapped,
to go.
literally trapped.
And
Love.
yeah, and grief is also a door, because once we are reunited with our loved ones, then there's no grief. So yeah.
So then, because like we did discuss that we all go through this process, can you give us maybe a few golden nuggets to help people sail through those difficult times? If there was any tips or advice you could share with
I think communication is key. I think being with the people who have lost somebody, being with them, especially after the first 2 weeks are busy, people are around, but after that it becomes quiet. That's when people need support.
Yeah.
Don't ask people, what can I do for you? If you need me, let me know. No. Give something very specific. Can I pick the kids today? Can I cook you a meal today? Can I relieve you for an hour today? Can I do like a specific task?
Okay.
Because people are so overwhelmed, they don't know. And again, we haven't been taught to ask for help.
Yeah.
So offer something specific. Be there for people, especially after the first 2 weeks. Keep in touch. Include them as much as you can in your social plans.
Yeah.
And don't feel awkward talking about it. Ask them, would you like to talk about it? No? Okay, let's talk about something else.
Okay.
But you know how we tiptoe around this?
Yeah.
It's like,
Exactly.
it's a reality, and it will actually mean something to people when you talk about it, because it gives them an outlet to share. Oh, okay, you know, somebody's interested, somebody wants to know. And that's healing for them.
Yeah.
Talking is healing for them. And that's
Yeah.
the best way you can be there for somebody.
Yeah. Well, those are such important points and tips that you've just shared with us, because I think a lot of us, like you said, don't really know how to help and be there. We mean it from the heart that we want to be there, but we don't know how it
I mean,
translates.
we go quiet. We go
Yeah.
quiet. No, this is not the time to go quiet. Reach out,
Yeah.
message, call. You know, that's what people will remember. People will not remember you showing up where everybody showed up on the 13th day.
Yeah.
No, they won't remember that. It's
Mhm.
when everything quiets down.
Yeah.
That's when they'll be like, okay, it's radio silence. Like, this is when you need somebody.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. And
Thanks.
for our aspiring authors, I'm just shifting the gear again back to
Yeah.
the writing. For our aspiring authors, what advice would you both like to give our viewers about how to overcome challenges or mental blocks when it comes to writing a book? Because, like you said, it took you 6 years, Sandeep, to you were nurturing it, but then finally for it to happen. And even for you, Nandini, you had your journey. So, if again there was some tips, some advice that you could.
Nandini will go first, and then
Okay.
I will fill in the rest.
Okay. So, firstly, I would like to say stop procrastinating. We have this habit, we have this desire,
Yeah.
but we don't have the willpower the discipline to fulfill this desire. So, we have to stop procrastinating and start form a discipline, form a ritual that I'll wake up in the morning and the first thing I will do is meditate. And while I meditate, I'll keep a paper and pen next to me. So if any idea comes to me, I will jot it down. Put your ideas down. Doesn't matter. You can write it after 2 months, 3 months, but put that idea down. And what has worked for me is whenever I have a block while I'm writing, something, I like to read. The more you read, the more you want to write because you just get inspired. Like I get very inspired by Elif Shafak's books. So I just start reading her and I'm like, wow, I like the way she writes. I have to write something like this. So that's how it works for me.
Wow. Okay.
Sandeep, I'm sure you have your way of doing it.
Yeah.
So no, I totally agree with you, Nandini. The best time is now. Start now. What didn't happen yesterday, week, 10 weeks, 1 year ago, doesn't matter. Start now. Set yourself a word count. That's what worked for me. Word counts and chapter counts. So I would say I'm going to write 1 chapter today. There were days I wrote 2 chapters. I was a madman. My editor thinks I'm crazy. She's like, we need to get your brain checked.
He's military discipline. I can't do that.
But like I tell Nandini that I have the luxury of being disciplined. You have so much on your plate. So acknowledge that. Don't beat yourself up and say, acknowledge this is my plate and this is only one. Yeah, this is one portion on my plate. Like, Nandini has a lot on her plate. So set yourself goals, set yourself targets, work with somebody. So they can nudge you. If you're going to be alone, you're not going to get checked. Work with somebody. They'll be like, did you write? How much have you written? Reading is an excellent resource to for your vocabulary, for storytelling, for different ideas. It's just the best thing. So when you're not writing, read. When you're not reading, watch something that inspires you, and get that story out. The world wants to read your story. Whether it's a blog, whether it's a novel, whether it's a short story, whether it's a comic strip, whether it's a podcast, just get it out there. Don't think, why will somebody want to hear this? No, you're a creator, you are unique, you have a unique point of view, you have your own voice. Don't think about who will be interested in it. Write for yourself first, and the followers will follow.
Wow, that's beautiful. I should have had my pen and paper ready to write it down. So that's a good thing why I've recorded this. I can go back and re-listen to all your nuggets. That's amazing. Thank you so much, both of you. And it is so great to see how much you both have accomplished thus far and are really following your swadharmas or your dreams and working towards making those dreams come into fruition. So, what is next in the pipeline for the two of you? I know you both have talked about the books, but do you see more books? Do you see maybe a TV series or movie in the future? There's a lot, like you said, the world is an oyster. So, what do you both have?
Let Sandeep go this time.
So I just wanted to show everybody my book because I haven't been able to show. This is my trilogy. It's in one. This is the omnibus edition. This is in 1 volume. So if people want to read, they can pick it up on Amazon. So I have written 2 fiction books. One is currently being queried with publishers and literary agents, and one is currently being edited and proofread. So one is a sci-fi romance, and one is a mystery suspense. 2 non-fiction books, one that is out in July and one that is out in April next year. Both are complete, but it's just spacing out, the publications. I've had a children's book idea for the longest time. I have an illustrator I'm going to be working with for that, and it's going to be a very cool way to teach kids something, and that's something I'm going to work on next year. And a fantasy novel has been knocking on my door, but I have been ignoring it because I'm like, you wait.
How many more?
You wait. Because my issue is once I've written it, that's it, I'm done. Like, it's out next. So if you ask me my characters' names in something, I'll struggle for a moment until I remember it. So TV series, yes. Movies, yes. I'm saying yes to everything. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Whatever the universe provides. What about you, Nandini? Tell us.
Same, I'm waiting for the universe. Yes, I would love to see Baba's stories out there as series or maybe on Netflix or whatever. And I have Baba's third book coming up soon, hopefully next month or this month. I don't know. It's up to Baba. Whenever a book has to release, it's he who decides the date because I've tried deciding a date, but it doesn't work. It's when he wants. So Baba's book is his decision. Yes, and I'm working on a period novel that I don't know the time again. Sandeep will keep pushing me, and I'll.
Sanam, I can't wait for you to read that. I am so excited about that. That really excites me. Writing historical fiction is very difficult. Okay. Writing about the largest diaspora, largest displaced community of Sindhis, again, extremely difficult. But Nandini has been working very hard, has been researching, and her chapters, her stories are wonderful.
Wow.
And if nothing else, at least I won't rest until she doesn't get this out. She keeps saying Baba's third book, Baba's. I'm like, that's fine. Baba's third book, okay, great. But I want that historical fiction because it's going to be really special. It's going to be really.
I think when you take responsibility for something larger and more purposeful, you do benefit and also others benefit. So this looks like one of those that I'm sure
it's big. It's big. It's
yeah.
big. You can hear her writing, you can smell her writing, you can feel it. It's brilliant.
It's very
yeah.
So a guru will guide you.
A good writer knows the other good writer, right?
I couldn't write like that. I'm being very honest. I couldn't write like that because her writing, she takes a while to write each chapter. She has that patience. She has that stillness. I wouldn't be able to write like that. There has been so much historical research and cultural research that's gone in there. So that's why I can't wait, because we discussed this. Sindhi language is dying. Sindhi culture is diminishing. So I'm really hoping that this book comes out sooner rather than later, and the youth should read it. Yeah. And the youth should understand what people went through, what were the issues, what were the concerns of the time, and how she touches upon, again, very contemporary issues. I'm not going to say anymore. I want you to read it. Yeah.
This is the legacy that you're going to carry through for your dad then, if all that.
Yes. And he too has read one or two chapters from the book, and I do take his inputs on the book. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So yes, sooner rather than later is the key here.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Yes, a guru will guide you. The guru will hold your hand and lead you from darkness to light, right? And
thank you.
We shall see that. That's also from your book. So actually, if you both have anything last minute to say, or should we end it?
Just one quote I would like to say from the book.
Okay, I hope it's not the same quote that I chose.
Finding myself. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Let your good deeds be like rain. Drop a little everywhere. So hopefully this is what we are trying to do through our writing, doing some good deed.
Wow.
I always ask my kid every day, what is the good deed of the day? What have you done today?
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that's so important.
Just smile sometimes, just a little concern for someone, or just a juice, you just buy a juice and give to someone on the road. So these are small deeds. If we can do every day, I think that's a lot. That says a lot about humanity. And this is what we want to put across through our books about serving humanity.
That's exactly what the last quote that I have also. I'd like to quote actually from your book, Nandini, Healing with Shirdi Sai Baba, where Baba says, light up a room with your laughter, light up the universe with your goodness, Walk the path of truth and surrender to sign. You will find peace within. An effulgent light will you be, an asset to humankind.
Wow.
And then said this, you've
I've written
again,
Baba for me. I told you,
yeah.
for me, it's a learning all the time.
Yes, so that was just, that really stood out for me. And then I also wanted to end with Satya Sai Baba's quote saying, the human body, which is so filled with skills and so capable of great adventures, is a gift from God to each of you. He is the doer, you but the instrument. Pursue nobler ends and have grander ideals. Look at the world with a vision of peace, love, and compassion. Then the whole world will appear loving and peaceful. Baba, I hope this has really summarized what both of you have spoken today. Um, Really, thank you. So once again, thank you so much, Nandini and Sandeep, for enlightening us through your journeys. And it has been a very wonderful conversation. And I just thought if you could share with our viewers how they can follow you and get in touch with you, you know, if you could maybe type on the chat box, or if you want to just tell our
Sure.
audience.
I'm just going to leave my Instagram handle there and my Facebook author page.
And if anyone
And
else has a question,
I
yes.
don't know how. I wouldn't know how to type it.
yeah, please
So
tell me.
mine,
It's Healing with
Healing with Shirdi Sai Baba on Instagram and Facebook.
yeah.
Okay. And
So in that page, every day, whatever message Baba gives is what goes on the page.
okay, that's beautiful. So I just want to check if there were any other messages or if anyone has any quick questions.
Everybody's been so kind and
So beautiful. Yes.
so supportive. So thank you, everybody who's watched
Thank
and
you
who's
to Sanam
No,
yes.
no,
Thank you,
for
really.
this
Sanam.
beautiful platform that you've given us to share our thoughts, our views, and talk about our books. And thank you to the beautiful audience. Really, thank you
Yeah.
so much for being here. I understand everybody is so busy in today's life, but to take
Yeah.
out that time, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
thank you, Sandy, for always being there supporting me.
Yeah,
Likewise.
really. Thank you. Malini says, hey, Sanam, thank you for always educating us with the best of speakers. And Malini was also one of our wonderful speakers. And Vanisha says, awesome. Um, Prem
Yvette.
says, awesome. Then Minulan says, Sanam, dear, truly very inspiring. So proud of you. Thank you for gifting us with fabulous speakers. Radhe and Sandeep are such positive souls. It's so nice to hear that. Karuna says, really inspired. Both Sunil and I would love to hear more. Hope there is part two. Oh.
Part two with you, Karuna,
Including,
1-to-1.
including
Let's catch up for
Sunil,
coffee
because he's
1-to-1
also
in
writing a
Dubai.
book.
Yeah. So after all the next part of your phase, maybe we can have another talk about all your new developments, maybe. And Sunil
Sure.
Wadwani says, Nandini, you are like salt. We don't notice its presence, but very much its absence. We miss you. Love,
So
Sunil.
sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That is very sweet. Very sweetly put. Yeah, and Neha says, thank you so much to all of you for sharing the inspiring and amazing stories about your lives and about the books. Om Sai Ram. Prem says, cool and amazing. Both of you are God's gift. Keep serving through your writing. And Rajul says, thanks a lot for the soul searching conversation. Yes, I think most of them are done. Yeah. And Prem is really very sweetly sent a few more messages. Okay, and we've got you all on. We've written on the chat, right? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So hopefully, please follow Sandeep and Nandini, and then if there are any more questions you have, you can ask them personally. I'm sure they won't mind getting some questions about writing or anything of that sort. Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Om
you,
Sai
Sanam.
Ram.
Take care.
Om Sai Ram.
Om Sai Ram.